Rocking.
Welcome back, everybody, to the 15th episode of the NFC East Podcast. And today, we have the Top 10 Tuesdays. I'm loving these Top 10 videos, man. These are my favorite videos every week. This is like why we talk football, right? It ultimately comes down to who you think the best team is as the season goes on, who ends up winning the Super Bowl, and who was right halfway through the season. You know, this is really where you solidify these takes, and this has just been the craziest of seasons. I mean, the parity that has gone on, you know, all the best teams have lost in maybe not an embarrassing fashion for all of them, but they've lost a game or two and haven't looked great, but they've also looked phenomenal in other games, and it's been really, really hard to tell. So I'm excited. Joining me today is Debate with Dan, or is it now?
No, baby.
Dude.
That one dude is in the house, baby. And Scotty, I gotta give you props. That Top 10 Tuesday, that's just kind of fire. I fuck with that.
Top 10 Tuesdays. That's right.
Top 10 Tuesdays, I fuck with that. No, but we back. We here, baby. The Birds took a fucking Daboll, so we're gonna get to it. We're gonna get in it.
Yep. Dan is very excited today. And also joining us is Joey, the Cowboys fan. I'm loving the Christmas tree in the background. I can't wait for the holiday seasons. We got to get to Thanksgiving first, though. Man, you guys are ready for Christmas. How you doing? You feeling very jolly today?
He's like half Puerto Rican.
So.
Once Halloween hits, it's just Christmas from here on out.
I'm ready to break down that Eagles-Packers game. Is what I'm ready to do.
and we will get to it. And we have many things to talk about this week, but not before we get into our top 10 lists. All three of us are here, and I'm very excited for this week's. It's a very big week, and there's another nice slate of games coming up next week where we'll make some further decisions on these lists. But it's top 10 time. Who wants to go first? Dan, Joey?
You got it, Danny.
Of course, every week.
Every week, Dan's gonna go first.
I need to hear it before I give you my list.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to be prepared. Okay, let me pull your list up real quick.
He likes to think about the arguments before.
Oh yeah,
before
it's definitely an advantage, but you get to hear ours. And,
exactly.
We'll do our best to kind of save it for afterwards, but we'll get into it, right? It's kind of inevitable. But anyway, Dan, why don't you start off with the top 10?
So my number 10. It comes down to the Denver Broncos. Okay, they were, if I'm correct, on a bye this week.
Mm-hmm.
No, they played the Raiders.
No, they played the Raiders. It might be
they played the Raiders on Thursday. I forgot, and I forgot because that was such an oblivious game, 10-7 against Pete Carroll's Raiders. Like, I would think for a team who beat the Eagles and came back the way they did against the Giants, you would go into that game absolutely laying it out, but it's like they still came out with it. I can't hate on it. So I think it'd be disrespectful to take them out of it. Going into number 9, I have the Bills.
The Bills.
Why did they drop? Because if I remember last week, I put them at 1, and they dropped to 9. Because I think it's absolutely so disrespectful, and I called it from the jump that they pick up hot and they'll get slapped square in the face on some dumb shit and lose to the Dolphins. So, I was thoroughly appalled because Cook fumbled, because Josh Allen fumbled, because there were errors throughout the defense. Yeah. There were errors in the offense. They couldn't adjust. They were horrible.
I think it was the first time in 9 games. It was 8. They were 8-0 against them in the past, I guess, 4 seasons or whatever it was.
100%. And what really gets me is that people are going to look at that Chiefs win. Guess what? That Chiefs win to me doesn't matter for shit right now.
Right.
Why? Because you're going to make errors like that. Joey has not said anything, so that's how I know I'm doing good so far in his book.
That's right.
So, going next. At number 8, I got the Bucks. And it's like, I can't hate on the Bucks. The Bucks right now are not fully healthy, but they're able to stay still in these games. They have the depth, they have the pieces, and the experience to stay in it. They're still a top 10 team to me, 100%. They're still in it. They're still capable of doing some shocking things in the playoffs. So I'm gonna give that respect. But these next coming weeks, If they don't come out and pan out the way I need them to, they're probably going to come out the top 10. Next, 7. People might think, what the freak, Dan? My dude, what happened? Guess what? It's the Birds. Okay, my Birds. I knocked them down 2 spots. Why? Because I thoroughly, as I mentioned to Scott last week, I don't know what Birds I was gonna what kind of team I was gonna see this week, and for it to be as close as it was, the errors, but also too like we've already acquired 3 different pieces. One just got told that he's going to contemplate retirement, so we might have 2 people retiring on the Eagles in one season. Another guy who's right now playing special teams, and Phillips is the only one that decided to pan out. And it's like there's things that are solidified, but there's also questions to be had. I'm not happy with it because I'm always the hardest on my Birds out of all teams, so I had to give him down 2 spots for that. Next, going into where am I at, Saudi? 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got the Rams. And the reason why I got the Rams is because, in reality, the amount of points they led up to the Niners, in the ways that they did it, it was extremely athletic plays. But the Rams do this thing for some reason, right? Against, like, for example, the Eagles, where they are up tremendously and they are letting up way too many points. And for me, from a defensive standpoint, no matter how far you are into the game, you should be not letting up plays the way you have in the game against the Niners, especially like a rival team, a team that is known for absolutely stomping you at the worst times in the season. So it's like there is, I guess, to me, the mojo to it, besides just the football factor. Then coming in at 5, I have the Chiefs. It's hard to take the Chiefs out of a top 5 situation because they're the Chiefs. So, for me, Mahomes, I think they were on bye this week. So they're rested. They're taking care of themselves. They're doing what we got to do, and they get to come onto the bye and start off fresh. It's not like the Eagles where we're here like, what are we gonna see? It's like Andy Reid, Mahomes, Spagnuolo, like what they're coming with. So it's either you're gonna be prepared or you're not going to be. At 4, I got the Lions. They stomped a lowercase W Commanders team. So I think genuinely that, was it a staple win? Sure. Was it nice? Sure. Deron Payne punched Amon-Ra St. Brown. Probably one of my favorite parts of the game. No lie, that shit was kind of funny. But like overall,
I had minus 23.5 on this game, and it missed by a 1.5.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like they did what they were expected to do. It's like, if you played like a legitimate Commanders team, I would love to see how the Commanders like compare to that in that sense. You know what I mean? It's basically like the playoffs of last year where everybody was like, why is everybody so hyped the Commanders won? They played a half team. Well, guess what? They just did it the opposite this game, and you saw the same result. So it's like, I got to see what both teams look like playing each other fully healthy. Now, for the top 3.
Commanders are who we think they are. The Commanders are who we think.
Joey, listen, I agree with you, but we'll get to that later. Yeah. But number 3, I got the Patriots. Okay, I'm gonna start giving that respect. Drake May is balling out. Trayvon Henderson, I decided to sit you this week because you've been doing absolute dog water, and guess what? You decided to ball out. Your mom, like, what's it called?
I started in 2 leagues because I was desperate.
Literally.
Yeah, he was on him for a couple buys. He was huge this week.
So it's like, for me, the Patriots, from seeing Vrabel go up to his quarterback in struggling moments, letting him know, like, bro, I believe in you. I'm here. Having the defense to be able to bail them out. My literally day 1 D tackle, Milton Williams, making plays the way he is and shit like that. It's like the Patriots are a very good dark horse in the AFC, and they are going to shock people. I genuinely feel like that's why I had to have them at 3. And at 2, I have for the Colts, and it's not because of Daniel Jones. It's because of that running back that he has, Jonathan Taylor. It was frustrating me because there were points that in the game that was in Berlin against the Falcons, I was thoroughly frustrated because Daniel Jones was looking like a pumpkin, and I was expecting this dude to absolutely throw the game away and like messed up entirely. But guess what happened? Jonathan Taylor just touched the ball and then ran it for like 70, 80 yards. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where
One of the clutchest touchdown runs I think we've seen in years. It was like six
100%.
minutes left, and they weren't moving the ball on offense, and everything changed after that.
literally the whole momentum just shifted. And of course, like they did mention beforehand how Morris, like what's it called, their head coach of the Falcons, does have like horrible clock management, which is what gets me because they lost because what by missing the extra point. But there was a point where they had 30 seconds on the clock on their 40, and all they needed to do was just go like 20, 30 more yards to be able to kick a field goal before half. But they just let the clock run to about 3-4 seconds and then just called it. It's like errors like that, I feel like, is what pisses me off about
Yeah, I
the
feel like
Falcons.
they really fumbled the end of game situation.
Yeah, I'm saying always. But back to the top 10 thing, the Colts.
Guess who has their first round pick? The Rams own the Falcons first this year. Just throwing that out there.
Oh shit.
Could be a top 10 pick for the Rams for like nothing.
So then, yeah, Colts at number 2. Now, my number 1 overall, listen, they are shocking the mess out of me. And I think nobody wants to talk about them as much as they should. I believe Joey has in the past. But, like, the Seahawks, man. This Seahawks team is doing everything right. And what gets me is that, like, other teams will, like, for some reason struggle against the Cardinals for some odd reason. But this Seahawks team did not. They absolutely just went in and like laid them out, fried them, both sides, extra crispy. Like it was like absolutely horrendous. Didn't DeMarcus Lawrence, like score 2 touchdowns?
He did.
Yeah, right.
Cowboys
So it's like,
scores 2 touchdowns. That's how it's
yeah. So it's like, to me, it's an overall powerhouse. And now it's not even just that they're a good team. To dominate a team like that, that is momentum. That is confidence. Like, that is another professional, grown man NFL team that you literally just, like, bent over and, like, did not, like, they couldn't do nothing about it. Like, they just could not do ish. So, Seahawks are number 1. Easy money. Easy. What'd you just say?
Back-to-back weeks for them, like, having the first half just blowing teams out.
Just absolutely blowing them out. Yeah, 100%. Like, that is confidence and a half. And I believe me, as an Eagles fan, I know what that looks like. So it's looking something like that a little bit. And that's the list.
All right, so I'll read it out one more time. Broncos 10, Bills 9, Buccaneers 8. Bills dropping 8 spots, by the way. 7, Eagles, doesn't say it on the graphic, but dropping 2 spots. Rams +3, up at number 6. Number 5, Chiefs dropping 3 spots in the bye week. Dan believes in these next 3 teams a lot more. Lions at number 4 moving up a spot. Patriots moving up a spot to number 3. Colts moving up a spot to number 2. And the Seahawks moving up +5 to number 1. So that is Dan's list. Joey, are you ready for your list?
Yep, I'm ready to go.
All right, let me get your list up on the screen. Your list is now in front of everybody. Are you ready to go? Let's hear it, Joey.
Yep.
What's your top 10?
So I told Danny, like I think maybe last week, that if the Eagles beat Green Bay, they'd make my top 10. So because of that, I'm going to put them in my top 10. I'm going to start with them at number 10, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah!
A new team. It says it on the graphic.
A new team for me. I got them at 10. Another game that I feel like the opposing team just lost more than Eagles won. But I'm just say that I got them at 10. Leave it there. We'll talk more about it.
Yeah. Okay. Number 9.
Number 9, I got the Buffalo Bills.
Dropping 6 spots.
Don't love this at all. Yeah, I actually don't like this at all. I'm not confident in Buffalo. I don't think they are doing anything. They're the same old team. Ready to go to 8.
Number 8.
I got the Bucks. Another team I don't really believe in, but we'll leave them at 8 for now. Number 7, Denver Broncos. Another team I just don't really care about, but they're at 7. This 7 through 10, you could probably move however you want. I care more about these top 6 teams. And number 6, I got the Chiefs.
Okay.
They're on a bye week, and these other teams I think deserve to be moved up, so I left them there. Also, they're like 5-4. They got to fight their way into the current playoff race. But for now, I got them at 6. Number 5, I got the Detroit Lions. I think this is where my contenders start. but I'm going to keep them at 5 due to how they performed against the Vikings and we saw what they look like this week. So the Packers are off my list, in case you're wondering. So the Lions are my number 1 team for the North. Pretty obvious. Number 4, I got the Rams.
Dropping
Matthew
spots.
Stafford. Yeah, well, it's because these other teams I got. My top 2 teams are my Super Bowl prediction at this point.
Okay.
I think I told you this, but we're going to wait to get there.
Yeah.
So I got the Rams at 4. I believe in their offense. This is a team that wouldn't surprise me. They could be 1 if you want to put them there. But for my list, I got them at 4. Number 3, the Colts. You guys mentioned it already. Jonathan Taylor putting the team on his back. 250. He had a 50-point fantasy week. How about that?
Yeah.
Just absolutely dominant. Never seen that. But number 2, Seattle Seahawks. Danny, your number 1 team. I kind of originally had them at number 1, but then I remembered that I love Drake May and the Patriots. Yeah. So I had to put them at number 1.
Okay.
Because I think they are the team to beat, and I think they are a new dynasty loading up. They got Mike Vrabel and Drake May.
So I'll repeat your list back to the audience. You have the Eagles finally making their appearance on your top 10 list at number 10. 9, you have the Bills dropping 6 spots. 8, the Bucs moving up 2. 7, the Broncos moving up 1, and you established that you think this is the lowest tier on the top 10, not really contenders. Then next, you have the Chiefs at 6, dropping 2 spots in the bye week, with the Lions jumping them, moving up 1 spot to number 5. You have the Rams at 4, dropping 2 spots because of the next couple teams. The Colts at 3, after their overtime win versus the Falcons. A tier break for your Super Bowl prediction, Seahawks plus 3 at number 2, and number 1, the Patriots plus 6. So there you have it. That's Joey's list. And I guess now it must be time for my list. And you guys know how much I love doing this every single week. So
I think we're ready to hear about the Packers.
Yeah, we'll hear about them. So they're not dropping out of my list. Let's just say that.
Hey, you have them on your list or no?
All right. Here's the list. Starting off with number 10. I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers staying put. Really just hoping this team can finally get healthy. And,
Bucky and Goddard.
Yeah, Goddard's doubtful. I think he might not play until like the playoffs or something like that. Bucky's got this cryptic injury thing going on.
Goddard?
Godwin.
Godwin.
I said Goddard too.
Yeah,
okay.
You said Goddard.
I must have said Goddard. I meant Godwin. And
I think Goddard.
Yeah, sure. Goddard. Yeah. He said. But anyway, hoping they get healthy. I believe in the defense. I think they've kind of tightened up, but like this magic that this offense had is sort of not there. They do have good young guys playing well, like Tez Johnson, but it's just a wait and see thing. He's probably not going to be enough to get you through the NFC Championship. Let's just say that. Number 9. I got the Buffalo Bills dropping 6 spots to number 9. I mean, like you both said, I'm very unconfident in this team after seeing what we've seen from them, not just in this Dolphins game, but just this season. You had the Patriots loss, you had the Falcons loss, and you had the Dolphins loss. This is no longer just a bad spot for them.
They'd be a top 20 team.
Right, and it's like the losses they're suffering are bad losses, and it's usually all the same way. They can't stop Bijan. They can't stop Devon Achane. They play ugly on offense, and there's no playmakers outside of James Cook. So, I mean, Kincaid's had a promising year, but you need wide receivers out there. I mean, even Mahomes is showing problems with that type of system. So this Bills team's in deep trouble, and they dropped 6 spots to number 9. Number 8, I got the Seattle Seahawks. Staying put.
This is terrible.
Staying put. I feel like what I saw from them this week is what I come to expect from them. I did say I think this Cardinals team is kind of like, Joshua Dobbs-esque, where eventually, for a couple games it was going to look good. It was going to fall apart. I feel like it broke versus the Seahawks, and the Seahawks dominated them. They did. And this Cardinals team isn't an awful team. But I really want to see them do this to a great team.
Didn't you say
they've done
the
that
whole
yet.
astronaut thing? Like this was.
Let me, and this is when I will start mentioning this. So the key losses they had to the 49ers and the Buccaneers. fair losses. You know, the 49ers back when they were healthier in week 1, that's a fair loss. The Buccaneers, that's a fair loss too. So their losses are all defensible. But among all of their wins, all 7 of their wins, the best games they've won have been against the Steelers, the Jaguars, the Commanders, and this Cardinals team. And I'm not going to...
the way they're beating these teams, though.
The way they're beating them is very impressive, and point differential does matter. But when it comes to me granting them confidence to get past sort of that divisional round filter, which they're on the cusp, they're on the cusp of this on this list, is I have them making it to the divisional round. There's just something I've seen from all these other teams, either this season or in the past, that gives me more confidence. I know this is controversial, and to be honest, with the next 2 teams, the Seahawks team is like neck and neck for me. This is kind of its own tier, 8 through 6. And up next at number 7, I got the Green Bay Packers. Staying put.
How do you keep it on?
Staying put. Because what I saw from the Packers this week, and the Eagles...
This is the same list we had last week.
And I will release my number 6 team, is the Eagles. All 3 of these teams stayed put. I went into this Packers-Eagles game thinking, honestly, I picked Packers money line, but I picked the Eagles to cover the spread, which, was very, very close. And that basically happened. Obviously, the Eagles won, but the Packers played up to their competition. We saw that. We know this is how, they've kind of faltered this year, but they played up to the Eagles. They didn't have a bad loss. The Eagles didn't have a great win. Both of these teams dogged it out, and my biggest takeaway, I get it was windy. It was really bad conditions for both of these quarterbacks, so I'm not going to dog either of them too much for their performances. But their defenses both showed up and stopped the run for the most part in this game, and if anything, the Packers were able to still run the ball pretty effectively versus this Eagles defense. That's how they scored. But this Packers team is going to have to open up this passing game and figure out who their wide receivers are. No matter who's out there, they got to just open up the passing game.
I think
and
the receivers
let
got
Jordan
open
Love get comfortable, because they're so good in the 2-minute, but they're awful until the fourth quarter is what it seems to be. And this has always been how it's been for the Packers. And for the Eagles at number 6, kind of staying put, I said, like, I thought I had a slight edge over them. I dug my heels in and picked the Packers to win this game, but I had the Eagles ranked ahead going into this week. And so everyone's just staying put through this tier. With all these teams, I kind of see them playing each other in the divisional round and eating each other alive. And some of these teams are not going to make it because they're going to verse a team with a very good defense. And, Sam Darnold, say what you will about how he's looked during the regular season. Jordan Love and Jalen Hurts have both also looked great in the regular season. We still haven't seen from Sam Darnold in the playoffs what we've seen from Jalen Hurts and what we've seen from Jordan Love, so both those teams stay ahead. I think they're both proven great rosters as well, where the Seahawks are sort of like the new roster, and it's going to get tested. I think it could be fragile. I don't think they're surviving losing JSN like the Eagles losing A.J. Brown or the Packers losing all their wide receivers. I think they're pretty fortunate right now with the way they're healthy. Moving on to my number 5 team, though, because keep in mind I have all these teams ranked above the Seahawks team. Number 5, the Colts. So they also stay put for me. And this was a really tough kind of, and they're almost in this tier, but I kind of have them in the next tier in a group of 2. And for me, I do want to just splurge quickly about how great Jonathan Taylor is and why that's good and bad for this team. Jonathan Taylor is 4th all time in rushing yards per game among running backs. Well, I'm assuming only running backs would have a stat like that. So that would mean he would project, if he played the average amount of years of a great to a Hall of Fame back, he's going to finish 4th all time in rushing. And guess what? He is 2nd all time in touchdowns per game, rushing touchdowns, behind Jim Brown, who had 0.9. Jonathan Taylor has 0.86, which is 0.01 ahead of LaDainian Tomlinson. Isn't that crazy? Jonathan Taylor is a Hall of Fame running back, and we are witnessing it right now. He was amazing at Wisconsin, And to think his best quarterback from then until now has been Daniel Jones is unbelievable. This guy, I've been on him for a long time, and I'm so glad to see his success. And no shot to Daniel Jones. He had some adversity this week and actually came through and won the game, which is not something we saw in that Steelers game. He got bailed out by JT. Do I believe he would have won if JT didn't rip off that touchdown late in the fourth?
Probably not.
Probably not. But you know what? That's something that Saquon has done for him in the past, too. Like, you got to have some good players on the offense for that whole argument to hold up. And JT did a JT thing against a team that couldn't stop him. And that's the coach and the team making the right decision to hand the ball off to him and, you know, being rewarded for being great at what they do. So the Colts stay at number 5. It's just like anything past that. And I actually think they're better than the Seahawks as far as breakout teams this year. I love the Seahawks defense, but I'm taking that run game over even like the number one thing I want on my team is a run game because you can control the clock. You can't really control the clock on defense. And controlling the clock is part of how you win the game.
So you would take the Colts over Seattle head-to-head. They're playing a game.
Yeah, I would. I would take them.
But Seattle would easily shut down Jonathan Taylor, I feel like. Just because
this Colts defense has been good too. They shut down Bijan.
Bijan's been shut down by the Dolphins.
Algier did have a good game. And I do think the Seahawks are sort of peaking right now, whereas remember what the Colts did early on in the season too. And not for nothing, the Colts have more impressive wins and losses to me on the year than the Seahawks. The Colts are, and I know we're diverging in the conversation a little bit here, but I mean, the Colts' losses are to the Rams and the Steelers, so the Steelers went a little less excusable. But they've at least beaten the Broncos, Chargers, and now the Falcons in overtime. That's not really mentionable, but I think Broncos and Chargers are both better than Steelers, Jaguars, Commanders, you know, which is what these wins that we're crediting the Seahawks are deriving from. And then I'll just quickly finish the list, and then we're going to talk about this.
Didn't Herbert also throw a pick 6 against the Titans, and that game was a close game?
Yeah, they almost lost to the Titans.
They did. they just beat the Steelers when both you and I thought they were going to lose, though, without both their starting tackles. They're a very resilient team, which is something that's not very. That's something we've not seen much from Justin Herbert or them in the playoffs last year. But either way, number 4 for me is the New England Patriots, and they are moving up quite a bit. I believe it's like 3 or 4 spots for me.
They belong.
No, actually, I think they're a new team for me. I held them off the list. They were an honorable mention for me last week because I was waiting for this game. So it's true. They are a new team on my list, but I have come around. I think that Bucs win is more impressive than anything the Colts or the Seahawks have done. Because that's a team that probably not playing in the Super Bowl. No, they're not at full strength right now, but they still have been dealing with these issues pretty much the whole season, and they're still 6-3. They still had a really hot stretch, and the Buccaneers honestly have the most impressive win-loss combination I've seen. Their 3 losses are to the Lions, the Eagles, and the Patriots. Okay, and their 3 wins are against Seattle, San Francisco, when they weren't so super healthy, but it was a good win, especially with how down they were on the injuries that game, and then the Texans when they were fully healthy week 2. I think those are competing with like the the Patriots win over the Bucs, but got a little mixed up there. But this Patriots team, they proved it to me this week, and not for nothing, seeing that rookie breakout really helps from Travion Henderson and Kyle Williams. One of my concerns was who the weapons were. Will Campbell's playing well, addressing my offensive line concerns, but the weapons was a concern too, and they're starting to establish that. So I'm really starting to buy into what this team is, and I believe in Vrabel. Sure. I believe in everything about this team. So number 4 for me. I haven't seen it, but I've seen like Vrabel. I have not seen Mike McDonald be the head coach of a playoff team. You know what I mean? That's another thing. Shane Steichen I've seen in a Super Bowl. I haven't seen anything great from the Seahawks coach or quarterback in the playoffs. Were you going to say
McDonald? I think when it comes to the Patriots, what makes them special is they cover all of the minute details, from supporting each other, complimentary football, tucking the ball away. It's like they play very, very smart football. So that's what really impresses me with this team overall. So it's like I get your point with that whole thing, but it's like we're really waiting for like the test, like the actual test of like, and that's where I guess my question is like, what in their schedule right now is their actual test?
Well,
Buffalo again.
I thought the
I
Bills'
like
first time was a test and they passed, and then this Bucks game was a test and they passed. Um, they've also done their fair share of blowing teams out, just like the Seahawks and the Colts. Up
Mm-hmm.
next, they got Jets, Bengals, Giants, 3 wins, should be at least. Bills again, Ravens again, or not again, but Bills, Ravens late in the season. That's massive. That is going to be the cherry on top of Drake May's second season. How does he finish
it's
out
going
the
to
year
be
versus
what
the Bills and
determines
Ravens?
that determines playoff seeding.
Playoff seeding, but not only that, that's going to control the offseason narrative depending on who wins. So it's going to be just like I'm using, these games right now to kind of.
How many losses? How many games do you see them losing though, like rest of the season? Because right now they only have 2 losses, so we're talking 1 or 2 games.
Yeah,
Like they have a really, really good chance of being the number 1 seed in the AFC
they do.
for the playoff.
It's true. And we'll have to talk about that at some point. Maybe we'll finish out the show with that, predicting the final standings, maybe based off our lists. And then number 3, I got the Lions. They moved up 1 spot, kind of recovered off of last week. They've had some shaky games, but you know what? They've beaten some really, really good teams. And like I keep saying, that's really important to me when you show me that. They beat that Buccaneers team, really whooped them, and they beat that Ravens team as well when they still were fully healthy early on in the season. I mean, they had some injuries. The defense wasn't playing great, but they won the game on 4th down. Their losses to the Packers, the Chiefs, that Vikings loss is definitely concerning. I think I'm kind of writing it off a little bit to like that rookie quarterback phenomenon where you haven't really seen him and you kind of underestimate them. I think they didn't show up like the Lions that day, and I expect them to show up, in the playoffs this year, even though last year did happen. So, number 2, I got the Chiefs staying put at number 2. They had their bye week.
It's kind of crazy though.
I'm not gonna move them. And I guess I'll elaborate on why I think it's not crazy to have them at number 2, and that's just because of Rasheed
5-4.
Rice being there. I think Kelsey looks better than he did last year. Josh Simmons on the offensive line with this team. It seems like he's
He like
healthy.
just came back to the team.
What's that?
He was gone for like a month. He
Yeah,
was
I
like
know.
gone for like a month.
I know, and he's back. And
Yeah.
having him back at that tackle spot is going to be huge because as long as Mahomes has protection, even if he didn't have Rasheed Rice, I would feel really good about him. First of all, he's never missed an AFC championship game. So theoretically, they should always be a top 4 team if you're just kind of
It's
going
gonna be
off of that.
Patriots Chiefs.
And I wouldn't
Probably
even
not.
deny that. I think there's a good chance it is, but that's why. And my take for who I would think would win in that situation would be the Chiefs and Mahomes. We've kind of seen Vrabel versus them in the playoffs and done really well with Tannehill, but that was a great Titans team too. They had their hair on fire, but it was kind of the same thing where the quarterback hadn't been there. I'm getting a little bit of feedback from someone, by the way, of a little echo. But yeah, I mean, I very greatly value what I've seen you do as a team and an organization, especially if you're one like the Chiefs that have stuck together as much as they have. This team is every single year it happens. They look different in the playoffs. Everyone goes, the playoff Chiefs are here. You don't get to see that right now. So if you want to say I'm projecting this outcome, sure, because that's what we've seen happen in the past. So they stay at number 2 for me. Number 1, I got the Rams. They're staying put. Same kind of idea with them. My main thing I like about them, though, is I feel like in the year of parity in the NFL, I feel like they have been the most consistent team. They've lost Puka, and in the game they lost him, they didn't play that great, but they won, and they played well beyond that. And this Rams team, their losses are that Thursday night game to the 49ers. That was really weird. Divisional game. The 49ers they're still like 6-3. Like they've managed to win despite what's been going on. They're not a bad team. And then the Eagles. In a game they really should have won like 4 separate times. Other than that, they've beaten the Colts. Colts is a team
They were behind the Eagles by like 3 scores. It was 7-26 if I remember correctly in the game.
it was
The
flipped.
Eagles also beat your top 2 teams.
They did. And the Eagles also lost to the Giants.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
they are like
the Packers also
The worst.
lost to the Panthers, and
So I'll list you the
they're still
worst
7.
losses of my top 5 teams in order. Because the Eagles have the Giants at 6, and that's probably the worst loss in the top 6 of any of those teams. The Patriots have the worst loss in my top 5 against the Raiders early on. But they're such a different team now, and because they were so young and brand new, I think they've changed since then. You can't say that same thing about teams that we do have a nice sample of, right? You can't move them around as much. There's not as much of a reason to do so.
It's only halfway where they're going to be.
The next worst losses are. I'm sorry. Let me just get this out, and then the Steelers, the Vikings, the Jaguars, and the 49ers. Solid teams. The Vikings probably the worst of the bunch, but those are teams that are in the playoff hunt. So it's like if you lose to a team like that, like I would expect that even for a great team, you're going to lose 1 or 2 of those games throughout the season. You know.
But what about teams like the Packers losing to the Panthers or the Bills losing to the Dolphins?
They're my number 6
Like,
team.
I think that.
Or they're my number 7 team.
Or 7 and 8. Okay. Wait, your Bills are 9, right? Or they're 8.
The Bills are number 9. They have
Number 9.
2 dreadful losses and a painful divisional loss. The Falcons and Dolphins losses were bad to me. The Packers, in the 6 through 10 tier, for me, they have probably actually the worst losses, but they have like the second best wins, I would say. I mean, the Bills did beat the Ravens and Chiefs, but I just feel like that Bills team is gone. And I know I literally just said like, oh, like you can't really like, you know, with the team we've gotten a sample of. This is like a new thing for the Bills to not really be finding their momentum at this point in the season. So I'm really unsure, and they have lost before. I think it was the wild card round. They've lost before in the first round. That has not happened to a team like the Chiefs, and that's a big difference between them two. So that's like, and I think their 2 losses might be honestly the worst. The Falcons are an okay team, but they don't win games, and it's kind of like the idea that like the plan, everyone knows how you beat them. With other teams, it's a bit more ambiguous, but with the Falcons and Dolphins, it was the same thing. It was the running game. So, and I'm not sure if Joey took a bathroom break or what he did, but
I think he needs a drink after hearing the Packers are in the top 7.
Yeah, but if I could even project my thing onto my screen, I will try to put it there.
Or the fact that the fact that the Seahawks,
you already have it on your screen.
No,
but I feel like
I'm gonna put like the wins and losses so you guys can see that.
I just feel like with the argument you make, I feel like the Eagles will be number 1 on your list, just off how you talk about the Rams and Chiefs.
Well, they would be if they didn't have the terrible losses that they have had. I had them.
Well, they beat all these
I had
teams,
them
though.
number 1 early on in the year. It's not just how you win games though; it's how you lose them too. That's why I like this, because it doesn't ignore either side. It takes both into account and then says who are you based on who you've won and lost to. Oh, I just realized I have my list still up. Let me take that down. You guys should be able to see my even you guys who I'm talking to right now should be able to see those greens and reds are sort of color coded in terms of like good loss or good win, and bad loss and bad win. So you could see we either have like a team like the Seahawks, who is like, I'm not really like horrified by any of their losses, but I'm not really impressed by any of their wins. And they find themselves amongst a group of teams that I think have really bad losses, but also have much better wins. And then you get into the top 5 where all the teams have justifiable losses except for that Raiders one, I would say. And then they have great wins. The Colts, honestly, might be a little overrated, but I think since they lost to the Rams and Steelers, I think that's better than San Francisco, Tampa Bay. So they're kind of finding themselves the top of the 5 through 8 tier, I would say. So that's kind of how I come about deciding this. And it's I do it because it's how I want to think about it. That's what I want to make sure I'm taking into account. So I see all the colors and I go, oh, this is all red. You know, you're not even up here. And then you got like green on both sides. Oh, you should be near the top, right? So you don't have to just reprocess all the information. It's just there for me to instantly see it. It becomes a lot more clear. I'm not juggling as much in my head. But I think the Seahawks one is the one I'm most nervous about. So I would actually like us to kind of open up about this, because the differences between our lists is that for me, I have the Rams at 1 and the Seahawks at 8. And then Joey, you have the Seahawks at 2 and the Rams at 4. And then Dan, you have the Seahawks at 1 and the Rams at 6. So I have the Rams as my number 1 team. Joey, I did remember you saying you could put them at 1, but you both still chose to put the Seahawks ahead of them. And I kind of want you guys to lay out the case for it, maybe why you think it sounds like you would think they would beat the Rams maybe in the regular season or in the playoffs as well. Do you guys feel like you have a reason that you believe that?
Joey, I'll let you go, Joey.
What wins championships, Scott? This is just an argument for one team.
Offensive lines and defense.
That's a fair point.
And defense, though.
It's defense, right? And I think what we've seen from Seattle is by far the best defensive unit in the league, and it's by a landslide. The way they just shut down teams, don't allow anything. And that's kind of why I feel confident about having them over the Rams. I feel like Seattle defense versus Rams offense will be a show. I think we have that matchup this week at 1 o'clock. Isn't it Rams Seattle?
Yeah,
Sunday.
They play this week, so this is happening right now.
And this is to my point as well. You know what I mean? I just genuinely see Sean McVay has been doing this with the Rams for how long and whatever the case is, but it's like nobody saw this from Seattle, and there's just that feeling from me that it's like it's fresh, it's new, but also too like this was the old Rams defensive coordinator that was absolutely monstrous, making the Ravens look like a top 3 defense, if not a top 2 defense, and they were not.
They were the number 1 unit in the NFL.
Exactly, they were balling out, and they are heavily now invested into this defense. Plus, like having this new kind of feel and mojo, plus 2 games back to back that you're absolutely dominating. It's just like they could really ride this train like all the way to the end, and it seems like they have Darnold. I like when watching a Seahawks game. Darnold, I don't see this dude like stressed at all, like throwing the ball. This dude he reads, he goes 1, 2, 3, pow, balls out. 1, 2, 3, balls out. It's just like the quick releases that he has compared to when he was on the Vikings. Like it's almost like they just basically like they want to build around him, but make sure that the defense is fully secured on like before anything. And that's what I feel like is going to be the big showing off, because overall, like I think Stafford and them, yes, they're solid. They're gonna be good. They're gonna do great, yeah. But man, this Seahawks team, it's fresh, it's new, it's not seen. They weren't like this last year, and here we are, brother. Like
it really is the defense. Probably I would say is the cusp of the point here, right? But Sam Darnold and the offense and like JSN too.
Yeah, from having Jason as your 1, now Cooper Kupp as your 2, and then
like 2. Sam Darnold's timing this year has been unbelievable to watch.
Unbelievable money shot.
Yeah, and I feel like this is I didn't expect this. I actually did not think this would happen at all. If you told me this was happening and asked me to bet if you were lying, I would have said you were lying pretty confidently. Because the expectations going into the year for this Seahawks team were not great. It was kind of like for the Colts and what their expectations were going in with Daniel Jones. It's like, okay, you guys acquire Sam Darnold. He had a phenomenal year last year on the Vikings. Didn't finish too hot. They decided to move on from him. And with Daniel Jones, it's not like it went down exactly that way, but they believed in him. And they picked them up and look at them now. They're making these guys look better. But what we've also seen is when the situation changes for Daniel Jones, we saw the Daniel Jones come out. For the Seahawks team so far on the year and the losses they've had, they've been understandable. That Buccaneers game though, Sam Darnold looked like the new Sam Darnold. Against the 49ers though, week 1 though, it did not look like it did this season. This season he's been phenomenal, but it did not look like that week 1. So I thought I was right for about a week. and then everything changed. But the reason I'm making this point is because when you're projecting something like this, it goes back to kind of not really exactly what I said about like the wins and losses thing, because that is true, but that is something that could change very fast. But I know something that is set in stone, and that is the fact that like I said, we have seen Stafford and McVay going at it for a while now. They have won a Super Bowl. They have a tremendous level of experience. I think they're probably the second best coach team in football, maybe third, behind Andy Reid and the Chiefs and Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers. But I think the mind meld between McVay and Stafford is number 2. That's definitely number 2 behind Andy Reid and Mahomes. That I trust a lot, even if they have injuries. We've seen Puka go down, like I said, and this Rams team was still continuing to win. And I expect that when they get to the playoffs, assuming they're, who they are right now and everyone's healthy and everyone stays put, I think this Seahawks team is going to be terrified. Specifically Sam Darnold. And the reason is, last year, on that amazing season for Sam Darnold, he lost, I think a grand total of 4 games. Because the Lions won that last game of the year for the 1 seed. They end up being the 5 seed. Who were the other teams they lost to? I believe it was the Lions. I believe the Lions swept them in the regular season. And the other loss, the week after that first Lions game, was the Rams. And the Rams played a full, complete game of football. They were matched up against the coaching staff on both sides well. They were well coached. It was a close game, but they ended up winning. And they made Sam Darnold look a little uncomfortable for the first time. He was not on a 35 touchdown pace in that game. And then, who was it in the playoffs? Who stopped them in the first round? I understand there were, some injuries and stuff for the Vikings, but it was the Rams again. And Sam Darnold, under the playoff pressure, did not look any better. So we're going to take that guy who looks great in the regular season, but what we know from him is that so far he hasn't shown it in the playoffs. Daniel Jones has shown more in the playoffs than Sam Darnold has right now. Let me bring that up too.
Okay, I'll give you that one.
And then I guess yeah, the last thing I'm saying is it's not just him though. It's the head coach's brand is never been to the playoffs with this team. He's been to the playoffs with the Ravens. And it certainly wasn't his fault that they lost those games, but it is his first time there too. And it's just,
genuinely curious.
They are riding a hot wave, from this season. This was not an expectation for them in the season. They could ride it, but typically from what we see from these teams is they're overperforming.
So now I'm curious, can you see and do you think the Seahawks could be a first round exit?
I think they could be. I wouldn't think that would happen though. I think they're kind of going to get mixed up with the Packers, the Eagles, Lions, and Rams in the divisional round.
right now, because right now where the league stands right now, the wild card is the Seahawks versus the Packers.
Seattle would blow them out of the water. It would be.
It would probably be a really close game.
Which means that in the divisional round they're either going to play the 4 or 5 team, which would be the Bucks, and then I think it is the Rams. It's either going to be the Bucks or the Rams.
Yeah, Bucks, Rams, could be Eagles. I think the Eagles are a bad matchup for this team. They have the offensive line to, intelligently, but also from a physical standpoint, handle this defensive front. We've seen the Eagles beat the Ravens, and they run this scheme, and they've handled them pretty handedly. I think they could win a game versus the Seahawks, the Eagles. I have them ahead, so it's very close, but I guess
the Seahawks right now are number 2. That's why I said they would see the Eagles in the NFC Championship, if anything.
Yeah, for me the Seahawks are 8, so they're actually the last. Is that the last divisional round team? Let me see real quick. I have ahead of them the Packers, Eagles, Lions, and Rams. So I have 4 teams ahead of them. So I have them actually,
as a 5 seed.
As a 5 seed. So I guess I do have the Packers ahead of them. I feel pretty similar about LaFleur in the playoffs. I feel like he's saving stuff. He's getting cute this season, and I hate what he's doing because it's costing them games. And he's part of the problem for them. But
I
have
think
faith
Jordan
that we'll
Love's the
figure it out.
problem. If you watch the game Monday, you'd see Jordan Love was a huge problem for Green Bay. I mean, they would have never been in that situation to kick that field goal if he didn't fumble before the halftime.
That was a
He
problem.
fumbled yeah,
That was,
come
but
on.
I mean, other than that, though, I think the rest of the game, like,
He missed. They highlighted every missed throw. I feel like every drive he's missing wide open receivers, and that's killing drives for
well, I
them.
don't want to just say like it's,
I like
I don't want to just say
okay,
like it's windy, but like it was, and Dobbs was
their own
gone,
game.
and that's the guy he typically actually has chemistry with. We have all these great talents come through the Packers wide receiver room, and every year it ends up being Romeo Dobbs who gets the most targets because he's the guy who's always in the right spot. And so you mix that on a windy day against this Eagles defense, like I'm not really too surprised once I heard what the weather was like that the score was what it was. I mean, don't get me wrong, like it was a pretty damn low scoring game. I did not really see that coming, but
Yeah, I didn't see that
I
coming.
thought the under had potential.
Dallas dropped 40 on that defense. Just want to throw that out there.
It's all good, bro. You guys were in the dome in Jerry's world, like. You know what I mean? I would love to play in a field that, even though what's funny is that Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, who can't stand the Eagles, was like, yeah, it just really sucks during this time of year because of how slippery Lambeau is. And everybody was busting their ass in the middle of the game. Like, so it's like from what's it called?
Conditions.
Conditions, thank you. To temperature and weather conditions to absolutely like piss poor decisions. Like overall, it's a horrendous game. There was just overall both sides, which is where to me, like in this game overall, I'll just say this right now. It's like I don't feel like anybody really won this game. Yeah, the Eagles won, but it was like there were so many things miscalled, miscued, and horrible decisions in the game throughout. One which was what's it called? Saquon almost ready to break out for a run, but then Michael Parsons decides to trip him, and the refs
Yeah,
don't have any freaking sight line of that whole gappage. Like, but hey, that's me. What's it called? Yes, there was some holding that I saw um, from Campbell when he collided with Romeo Dobbs going on the 5 and in. I saw what's it called when Smitty was going down the field and what's his face McKinney collided with him before the ball even freaking got like it's like seeing all these things that happen. And then also too when you call a timeout before the kick can go off and they still tried the field goal kick afterwards, that's like never been allowed. That's like
Well, if you do it
football
like right
101.
away, but like the ref was,
Yeah,
the
but they
announcer
said they literally
said,
said they called the timeout before the snap went off.
I was listening to the announcers say this, and I was like, I did not see Brandon McManus wind up the kick as soon as they blew that whistle. I agree, I did not, but it seemed like what happened was at least this is what the announcer said is like the ref is supposed to like get in there and stop it, and I guess he didn't like run in front of the kicker and do like his like he didn't stop him, and the announcer said Brandon McManus took advantage of it. I mean, can you really be upset that like he didn't get a chance to kick it though? I mean, on a day like that, I
No,
have no
I
faith he was gonna make
understand.
it.
I'm just saying, if Jake Elliott decided to do that, he would be burnt by every single NFL fan in the league because they would definitely send him to the shadow realm. That's what I'm getting at. Is like because Brandon McManus did it, and they were just like the Eagles could get upset. I'm just saying, I have no problem if you want to take advantage of it, but it's like, for example, when the Eagles right get accused of a false start on a tush
I knew
push,
this was
right?
coming.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, we're here, baby.
Yeah,
And then the Packers do it this game. I'm sorry.
I got a response for you on this one because you're
hold on,
right,
guys, hold on.
you're right, but
Yeah,
it's
hold on.
go ahead, Joey.
Before we jump to this topic, I just wanted to like ask you guys: do you know who holds the record for the longest field goal for Green Bay?
Is
Mason
it
Crosby?
Mason Crosby?
Nope. It's Lucas. I don't know how to say his name. Lucas Havrisk. He was like a guy they signed to replace Brandon McManus, and he kicked a 61-yard field goal that he made. Last night, they were saying Brandon McManus is still not healthy. They weren't confident in kicking. Like they didn't give him another chance. Like, you know what I mean? They had no confidence in him, and they had this guy who was inactive for that game. So they went into that game knowing McManus was compromised with this another kicker that just didn't use he would have hit that. It was at 59.
Yeah,
Could have had a chance for everything.
Probably had a better leg.
Yeah.
The kick was at 64 yards. What are you talking about?
64.
Still, I would rather have seen this.
Guy hit a 61 though.
Yeah, but he said, but they said McManus hit a 61 too.
Yeah, no, McManus.
But he was
compromised.
He was compromised.
He's just old. He was hurt.
Well, he was hurt. That's why this guy was signed. Like he missed a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
and he's coming back playing in this game, and he's still hurt. Why are we doing that?
Yeah,
that's what I'm wondering.
I get that.
All fixable issues for the Green Bay Packers, but
similar to the Giants, what they have going on at kicker.
The Packers special teams is their biggest problem. It's true. It definitely.
Jordan Love's one of the biggest problems there too. Like you guys haven't really talked about how he's missing all these wide open receivers.
I said his accuracy has always been his main issue. But I want to get back to this. I want to say something about this particularly because yes, both teams did the jump off sides, false start on the tush push. I think it's not that I'm gonna come away from this game and say the Eagles won because you're right. The Packers also. It was just almost like a burn the tape type of game, just to unless it's windy in the playoffs when you guys verse each other, it's not gonna be like that again. It'll be like normal.
Because to me, it was just all ugly. Everything, nothing came out of this being this was good football.
I agree with that, and that's why I kind of kept everyone in the same spot. But for me, I think the reason people are upset, because this is why I am upset, is as soon as I started seeing this, first of all, I was upset that this is the first time I'm seeing this, and the Eagles have been running this play for 3 years. And you're telling me that there's potential that for the past 3 years, the Eagles have false started on every tush push from the regular season to the playoffs. Now, we might never know. We might need to get someone to look into this, and I'm sure there's someone who wants to, and we will find out. But if it comes out that the Eagles false started on, let's just say it was 50% of their tush pushes, I think from what we're seeing now, it looks like it's more like 75% of them. It's
different line now.
Yeah, but it's like maybe Kelsey was doing it a different way. I don't know, but
I would say to me, I feel like Kelsey for the year.
But we feel like, but until we look back, we don't.
You
could
say this is worse than the Houston Astros trash banging thing.
I think that's worse,
in 2017.
I think that's much worse.
This is worse than the Astros situation. What the Eagles are doing, they should be.
Okay, that is on the NFL. That
is a horrible take, but sure.
But it is true though that I think the idea of this play being like this for 3 years infuriates people, and it infuriates me because it's already ugly. It's already on a short leash. It's not the good old fade route. People don't like seeing it. It's just
no
a fact, and the NFL cares about that. And if they find out that either the officials can't officiate it right or you guys can't manage to do it without running false starts, it's just going to get ugly. And it's not ever going to go away. And your team's success has honestly been mostly from that. That is your guys' fourth down element. So I would just not say much about it if I was an Eagles fan, personally. I just wouldn't want to talk about it. I wouldn't want to talk about it much because I see where this is going. I don't see this going away, especially after what we're seeing this year. That's kind of my take. I agree. It wasn't like a deciding factor in this game. Both teams did it. But, I'm just, from the scope of the issue, you understand, I think that's why people are upset.
So, this is what I'm going to say from my point. It's if this play ever does get canceled in the future or whatever the case is.
It's canceled.
Right, gets completely canceled, destroyed, sent to the nether realm, absolutely freaking blown up.
Yeah.
If this happens, as an Eagles fan, I can't lie to you. I low-key would be proud. And hear me out. Imagine running something so good. The entire league is we can't have you do that shit. Because
it's house money. You got house money.
Everybody has tried it. Everybody. They showed it on ESPN about every team that has tried it, the amount of times they've done it. Of course, the Eagles are the highest because we've done it. We ran it freaking 4 times in a row against the Giants the one time I remember. And it's
everyone loved that drive.
That really showed us.
We haven't even talked about Brian Daboll yet, though.
We'll get there. We'll get there. And what's it called? So it's to me, it's imagine you're doing so good. And it's just because, like you said, new line, new guys, whatever the case was. Like Becton was not jumping like Steen does. You know what I'm saying? Like
I have a
Kelsey,
question.
Kelsey was in that 4-point stance, and people thought it was Dickerson's hand at the time. But it was like, as a center, yes, you can get in a 4-point stance. Since when could you not? So it's like all these things that people are trying to find little nuances to pick at to be like, this is the problem, this is the problem, this is the problem. And now
I think
because
the false starting that was a problem. That's what I
yeah,
think is the
but
problem.
I'm saying this has been a problem since the beginning. But back then it was them saying Landon Dickerson's hands was in front of Jason Kelsey's. But Kelsey would go on his podcast and be like, no, that's literally my hand in a 4-point stance because I'm trying to get the right leverage. And then the next year we get Mekhi Becton, and then we run the same play. It was a lot harder to stop at that point because you basically have a left tackle as your right guard with what's it called? Jurgens and Dickerson ran the same play, and now because we're running a different line formation, we have dudes like Steen, who's inexperienced, who is jumping off sides. Yes, I will be the one to say, yes, he's doing that. But I'm saying for the years that
I don't
has
like the
been
way you framed that. I
What are
don't
you
like.
talking
I don't
about?
like the way you framed it as like it's a mistake.
Yeah, it is. Would you not say the other?
No,
teams
because
don't
on the
jump
replays, it's not just Steen. It's like three dudes
The whole line's moving.
going. But I think it's intentional. I think this is what I think. I think this is like a Bill Belichick situation, where he's getting every bit of meat off the bone of this play. He's saying we're gonna line up as close to the line of scrimmage as we can. We're going to line up as low as we can with our chins off the ground and our asses in the air. We're going to spear the ground with our foreheads, jumping as close to offsides as we can, as how it would be like explained, right? Like as instantaneously as you can. Most important thing is your get off on this play. I want you guys to drive as low as you can and do all these little
Just
things
air curl.
to get to win the battle of inches. And some of it's legal, and I think some of it is illegal, and then I think some of it, like the whole operation itself, I want to ask, like, this was my question before, like, has everyone really tried this, like the way that the Eagles do it? I spent time like looking at the Eagles tush pushes, the way I just described it. I don't see Josh Allen's Bills and his offensive line like burrowing down to the ground. I see them doing like a classic QB sneak and Josh Allen like jumping over. So like I kind of, you can disagree with me if you want. Like it's kind of like a gray area, but I feel like it is different the way the Eagles run it. Like the way they execute it, there's a reason they're the best because they do all these little things. And as long as all the things they do are legal, maybe they don't cancel the play and I'm okay with that. And then it should be normal to stop. But
because that was another thing they brought up too was the injuries that it came. But like the only person I genuinely saw injured was Chris Jones when they were massaging his neck in the Super Bowl because we ran the tush push. But it's like that's what I'm saying. It's like little excuse to me. It's like the false start thing is the only thing that I've seen that I'm like that's a valid point. And Jason Kelsey brought up a good thing too. If you want to ban the play, you're basically saying you are not allowed to push a player from behind because in reality, like that's what we see usually. It's like the initial smack, everyone's stuck for a second, and then you have Saquon, Dallas Goedert, AJ Brown gripping up Hurts, and he's pumping his legs, and they're all pushing from behind.
Just clip that part of what he said.
Yeah. Okay. So I know too much about this topic. I did a video on this. I love talking about it for this reason because like I feel like the perception is that people don't want, or the perception is that I don't want. I mean, other people might look at it this way. This is how I look at it. I don't want to ban the whole pushing part. I think you should be able to push your own offensive player. What I think needs to be investigated is the offensive line and how they line up and what they do right after the play is snapped. Because it's like, could be, we're going to describe this, it goes down in the book as a block is what they're doing. It's really not what they're doing, as I kind of described. They are causing a pile. They are driving, like I said, low to the ground. And if you're a defensive tackle, your options are stand up and lose every ligament in your knee, right? Try to jump over it, which you're not going to do. You're just going to get flipped because a 300-pound man is So you have to at least meet him level, which is impossible unless you line up with your head 3 inches off the ground. It's not really 3 inches, but you know what I mean. As low as a professional
like you're
athlete
basically
can get.
smelling the dirt.
Right. And the first place the Eagles go is they don't try to go like under and up. They're going down. They are trying to build a bridge, a literal bridge of bodies. If you look at the bird's eye view of these touchdowns, the Eagles are building a bridge of bodies for Jalen Hurts to be pushed over, right? So he cannot be touched down if there are 3 offensive linemen minimum underneath him. And then that doesn't even take into account the other defensive players. And so that is a scrum. And I think the way that they line up, the only true way to stop it is to kind of get underneath the pile, make the pile be at the line of scrimmage, not where they push a yard or 2 ahead, right? You need to make the pile be at the line of scrimmage, which means you got to stop them, which means you got to get to their legs. The only way you can do that is getting like literally on the ground and even sideways.
Match the way they're coming at you.
You can, but that doesn't even work because they have the 3 guys behind pushing him, and he has to get touched down. You know what I mean?
It's almost like you're gonna have to meet them. Like this is me, like just genuinely like looking at it from that perspective. It's like you're gonna have to like need a D lineman or a nose tackle meet Hurts in the middle of the scrum. And I'm talking about is like, for example, to me, right, the package formation, it almost looked like a straight up arrow at the center, like. And I'm talking about like it was one of those things where it was like the moment that ball was snapped, they all put all their force at the center and the 2 guards. And Hurts was just able to roll out to the left to be able to get like 4, 5, 6 yards instead of the normal like 1, 2 yards.
Yeah, I always wondered why they don't have like a package of plays that like go off fake tush pushes, but I don't even want to give someone the idea. Well, like I feel like we never see it. Like 99% of the time, it's a tush push.
Part of the issue is that the Eagles can run trick plays out of this. It's no guarantee that even if you do match with the linemen where they are, that Hurts is even going to be there because if he can run in like a zone like outside of that, you know what I mean? It's no guarantee Hurts is going to be in the same spot. And I feel like the only way you can match them defensively is if you line up the same exact way with like a linebacker playing where Hurts would be, and then just like mirroring wherever the play's going.
But
which usually will be weird at it.
Defensive players cannot wedge. They cannot wedge the way offensive.
But they can't wedge and it can be a play.
They can't wedge. I'm pretty sure it's considered if they're going into the same gap, it's a wedge. So, but the Eagles' offensive line, every offensive line can do this. Obviously, they're all collapsing to one gap. And my main kind of point was that the only way to really stop it is dangerous, is what Chris Jones tried to do. It was the right call by the staff, but he got hurt. Why? Because of 3 linemen spearing him in his side. There's no way you could take that. Are we going to get before? I didn't want to get that one out. But anyway, how crazy are we going to get? You know, we've cursed before, but that one, you know, I'm like, nah, I'm not going to try with that one. But how far are we going to go? When do we stop?
How far are we going to go, Scott?
How far are we going to go? You know, like 3 guys piled up on top of each other, like in the middle of the A gap, and then Jalen Hurts throws a pop pass. Like, it's just dangerous. Like, I feel like the defensive coaches like know like we have to do something like this, but I'm not gonna risk my defensive tackle who gets $20 million.
I mean, the Vikings almost did.
They tried to do it, and I bet that dude backed out of it, or it did not work, or he got hurt. I bet it was one of those 3 things. I'm serious. So I'm saying like it appears to me the only solution the defense is legally allowed to do right now is dangerous. The offensive line, you know, all the jumping offside stuff, it's like they should be able to clean that up. We'll see. It hasn't gotten cleaned up. I would expect that to get cleaned up the next week. They're taking their sweet time with that. And, the bridge thing really bothers me. I don't think that's an idea that was ever explored in the NFL. Like, are players allowed to build a bridge for offensive players to walk across, like Jesus Christ, and like not be touched down? Like maybe, but there's too much uncertain about it. There needs to be another investigation this offseason. Then they need to make some changes. So that's enough about Eagles Packers. I'd say there's still one more, unless if we did actually talk about them. There was one more matchup, and that was we've spent a lot of time talking about Patriots and Chiefs, but it's the same situation. I still got the Chiefs above the Patriots, guys. You guys both had the Patriots above the Chiefs. So all my points chime off the same reasoning I have for the Rams and McVay, just multiplied by whatever you think Mahomes and Reed are better with. And I think this is the best Chiefs team we've seen in 3 years. So, do you guys feel like it's a tier, and maybe it's like you can just kind of shift them around in that? I think we all have them top 4 or top 5 at least.
I think there's a clear top 3 in the NFL.
I think to me it's like the consistency as this team goes on. It's like it's not for me like fair nor logical. Like to me it's like, well, I could seriously glaze the Eagles. It's like I'm gonna go and like look at it unbiased and say like the Patriots have been consistent, dominant, playing smart football, well-rounded, supporting each other. It's like they're covering all the nuances that you need as a football team, and all they really need now is just experience and time. And it's like this is gonna be a scary ass team, and I'm gonna give them their flowers for now because they balling the fuck out. Like,
yeah, they scare me the most of all the new teams. They scare me the most.
Yeah, but you still believe in the Packers. So how could they scare you enough? Like,
my Packers.
How could they really ever scare you?
My Packers ranking is number 7. I didn't move them.
Yeah,
I
they shouldn't be on the
deducted them
list.
a lot the week before.
I think there's a clear top 10, and I think, obviously, but top 3. But I think if I was being unbiased, I'd probably put the Eagles where Danny has them at 7, right under the Chiefs, Lions, Rams, Colts, Seattle, Patriots. That's probably where I should have them because I don't really care at all at this point for the Bills, Bucks, or Broncos.
Yeah, I'm kind of over the Broncos. I feel like they have a really fraudulent 8-game winning streak, and they keep trying to tell me in the comments that they're going all the way.
So real rap, do you think? So do you think at the moment Sean Payton leaves, Bo Nix is going to be absolute dog water?
Bo Nix is carried. Yes.
I don't know if Sean Payton's going anywhere, but if he did leave, I think that would shake things up in a negative way.
Okay, that's a fair point. So then, for my most excited point, can we please talk about the one thing that I've been right about so far this season, and that is Brian Daboll getting fired mid-season, like I predicted.
Yeah, I did do a show about this yesterday, so it's fresh in my mind. I've spoke quite a bit about it. What do you want to know from the Giants fan about Brian Daboll being fired, or what do you want to say?
So for me, I guess my first question is who are you looking for? Like, what is like to me? It's like how many head coaches are we gonna blame until we look at the GM and we're just like, and this is where I guess it frustrated me, right? Because Daboll has been the coach of like a lot of winning teams, i.e., like he coached Hurts. What's it called? He's been at Alabama. He went to Oklahoma. Then he went to the Bills, did so good with Josh Allen, and then. You know, if I'm missing any of the teams in between, please let me know. But it's like, then you go to a team like the Giants. And for me, right, like, I enjoyed when he would have the NYPD, NYFD. Like, he was like New York's dude, bro. Like, he took the pride.
Major aura.
Pride of that city. Like, to me, it was like he was about that place, like, ride or die all day. And it's like, in Hard Knocks, you have your GM's daughter be like, "What about Jane Daniels?" And it's like to me, it's like
that was his son.
All these,
he might actually be an apprentice.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like to me, it's like you're seeing that ish happen, and it's like this coach brought you guys to the playoffs and won a game, and
it's fired.
You guys are like, nah. Rather than look at the GM who was like, let's get rid of Saquon. Or, yeah, fuck it, we'll get rid of Daniel Jones. We'll let this stuff slide. And be like, you know what, bro? We need you to be here a little longer. I think you're getting close.
So part of the issue...
Go ahead. Yeah, Joey.
Part of the issue here with Daboll that we're not really talking about is like... I feel like it was kind of pointed out. He was like a very like whiny guy. The problem was discipline with the team. with Daboll, it's always everyone else's fault around him, like Wink Martindale. But I think looking back at it, Wink Martindale was right, correct, Scott? With how he felt.
Well, I think Wink Martindale would undermine Brian Daboll at times, and it got under Daboll's skin, and then Daboll responded in a way a head coach shouldn't, right? He retaliated in certain ways, and
We've seen him on the sideline.
siding with the defensive players over the defensive coordinator, and then Martindale and just the exchanges that they've had, like Daboll telling Martindale not to blow another game. Referencing one like the Jets when the defense had a great day and the offense and special teams lost it. He totally blew that situation with Martindale, and Shane did as well by allowing it to get so bad. So yeah, I think Martindale had his issues, but I think he was more right. But I think they were both wrong. You know what I mean? I don't think he should have left over something like that. I think it could have been discussed.
We see though, like when the Giants play, like there's always Daboll like red and like just throwing stuff, yelling at somebody. He wasn't very mature as a head coach.
I would probably feel the same way if I was. To be honest, I would probably have very similar reactions. Honestly, like as a fan, it was relatable. Like whenever I was mad, I liked seeing that my head coach was at least doing something about it. You know what I mean? Like he would be going to the referees, being like, "I'm angry about this now." Like the toss and stuff, a tablet to like Daniel Jones things like that. I was like, well, that's really not going to be a good look, and that's not going to help Daniel Jones's confidence. That's going to hurt the relationship. It's those kinds of things that I didn't like, between the players. But anything he did, like, in a game to another coach or another referee, I was like, that's my guy. Like, he's got that dog in him. And I always appreciated that. I was sad to see him go, but I did think it was the right time. But at the same time, Dan, it seemed kind of like you were kind of asking me, like, why we didn't clean house, or like why we didn't go for Joe Shane first or Shane Bowen.
Like that was my really question, because to me it's like this dude at least has been producing with the players that you have, even though like listen, like there's a lot of things, and like what I mean, not even trying to like throw shade or freaking go crazy, go stupid. It's just like from the field, everyone's complained about the turf on the field. Everyone's complained about like what's it called, the GM, his decisions. The health of the team. You know what I'm saying? The holding staff, the ATs, all this. It's like there's so many complaints. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So many complaints about it. It's like, why get rid of the person that really showed success?
Actually showed you something.
You know what I'm saying? Actually performed and showed you something. Not like the other things around. And I guess my question is just like, for example, like, are we going to go and say like, oh, like we're gonna give credit to Joe Shane because he got Evan Neal, Thibodeau, Malik Neighbors. It's like cool.
Start that off,
but
with
like
Evan Neal.
He's been healthy and
top
active
of the list. Cream of the crop.
To me, it's like you got all these players and two of them are not playing right now, and one is like doing okay. I guess my question is like, it's like to me, it's like. It's hard to say like Joe Shane's that guy because you have these top 10, top 5, top 6 picks.
That's what happens when you have a losing season every year.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, to me, it's like Joe Shane's just sitting there just like, I just got to pick a really good guy, get a lot of jersey sales, and then boom, shakalaka, keep my job. It's like, that is such an easy thing to do when you have a top 5 pick. No issue, no problem. So why
not get rid of him first?
Why is he? Why is the pistol not pointing at him? Like, why is not somebody looking at this man and being like, get this man out of here? Like,
so I can answer this two ways. The answer is why I actually think it's like this, and then there's why I think it should have happened. The order of operation of firings I thought we should have had was Shane Bowen on the defensive side. He was a guy that when Martindale left, he likely talked poorly about to his other defense.
Part of like with the Daboll era, part of the problem was like with the way the things ended with Wink, it made the defensive coordinator just for the Giants so unattractive. Yeah, that's why you ended up with Shane Bowen.
Right.
So you guys really can't fire him because there's no one that was going to. Right. Who you going to put like your linebacker coach or D-line coach?
So, to me, that was on That was on Shane and Daboll. That whole situation, they were negligent. More so Daboll, but they were both responsible for that in a way. Shane is overseeing all of this, and this is my main point, is that I think it should have been Shane Bowen gone first, Joe Shane, and then Brian Daboll last. Because he was the actual guy who did show us something, who did show us that he could have the fundamentals sound that first year of offense if the defense was taken care of. If we have a good defensive coordinator, he could focus on the offense and making big calls on special teams. And even with the depleted roster that we've seemingly had for the past 3 seasons, with whether it was injuries or actual lack of talent, there's been points in the season where he's shown us something with it, whether we liked it or not, whether we wanted to actually win. He's typically, when we've won, if you actually look at what the Giants were working with, it probably was impressive, right? And how many losses did we have with backup quarterbacks in there?
Yeah, but we're talking about the guy that has the lowest win percentage as a Giants head coach in your history of a franchise. He has the lowest win percentage.
Right, and that does fall under the head coach. He doesn't have the lowest. I think he has the second.
He's the lowest.
You might be right. I think he's the lowest. But anyway, we stuck
That's
with
the
him.
guy we're talking about.
We stuck with him for a long time. But I said, as far as what Brian Daboll's had to deal with, he's had a top 5 strength of schedule the past 3 seasons, when the past 2 seasons it made absolutely no sense for the Giants to be in that situation, which is just, you could say unfair, but I'm just going to say it was unfortunate break for him for that to happen. And then the injuries. We've lost Saquon for a couple weeks. Daniel Jones tore his ACL in 2023. And then all the injuries we've had to Andrew Thomas. And then this year, how could it get any worse? We have Malik Neighbors and Cam Scatterbo both go down. Dexter Lawrence is coming off of, the elbow from last year. And Daboll did not prepare him properly in the preseason. I would agree with that. And then with Andrew Thomas, we were not equipped with depth behind Andrew Thomas. And that is on Joe Shane. And what I want to kind of come around to is the reason we lost games this year really wasn't because of the offense. This is the best Giants offense we've seen in years. And Brian Daboll wanted Jackson Dart, and he got him. And so this is because of him. And without Neighbors and Scatterbo, it's still been okay. The years of scoring 13 points a game seem to be over. And that's because of Brian Daboll. We've lost games this year because of the defense collapsing late in games. And part of that is Daboll's fault for the conditioning. It's true. I understand that. And he is probably, making a lot of decisions about, are we going to, what are we going to do on defense? Oh, send him a blitz. Get more aggressive. You're getting picked apart, things like that. But ultimately, Joe Shane is the guy who hires and signs every single player and coach on the team. So if we're going to talk about, winning and losing, and we know Brian Daboll handles the offense and he's been responsible for what's been good this year, the rest of what's bad, the rest of everything that's bad is all Joe Shane. And the defense not being actually well done, that's all on Shane Bowen. Someone Joe Shane hired and was a huge... I don't think Brian Daboll wanted Saquon gone. I personally believe he wanted Saquon to stay, and Joe Shane got all cute because the big thing was to not pay running backs. Oh, because I can sign Devin Singletary and draft a 5th-round pick and spend $3 million on a 5th-string corner. Wouldn't you rather have that than Saquon Barkley? No, you don't want that over Saquon Barkley. And there were no other running back that was worth that money, right? And same thing with McKinney. It was clear, wrong decision to sign Daniel Jones. Those two both responsible.
Derrick Henry was also on the market at that time.
I think that was the year. Yes, those 3, Jacobs, Henry, and Saquon were all on the market. They were all getting disrespected. But honestly, the best talent and youngest one was Saquon. To me, it was who else? What other running back on the planet Earth is worth, $12 to $15 million than Saquon Barkley? To me, it was nobody else. And you could say, oh, he wasn't helping the Giants win games. We haven't gotten any better without him. Even with Dart now here, we still only have 2 wins. So I definitely blame Shane more. I was sad to see Daboll go, but it had to be a clean house. So he was just kind of collateral. Honestly, if we could keep him on the team somehow, I would want us to. But it appears, the head coach thing was he got eaten alive by the bureaucracy in New York. Some crazy crap went down. He made some mistakes, sure, but I don't think he had very many friends in the organization by the end of it, and I think Joe Shane did. So I think that's why he's still there.
I definitely take that answer.
Did you see what I sent you, though, the pattern the Giants are on? I think I said it in our chat.
What, are we supposed to make a wild card next year?
No, it was let me see if I sent it.
I think my phone.
It was how
somewhere.
It's just that you guys like hire a head coach and GM duo, and then after like 3 years, you fire the head coach. The other GM hires another one, and then after 2 years, they get fired.
Yeah, we need to
It's
stop
like
doing that.
you guys are following that right now because you're keeping your GM, fired the head coach. So 2 years from now, you'll be hiring a new head coach. Is what the pattern that we're on.
I think Shane needs to go. I think Bowen
Which would
needs to
mean
go.
Jackson Dart would be on his third head coach in like 4 or 5 years.
Which is why we need to just restart and get a young coach who doesn't have any enemies. A GM
restart with
with
your
no
GM though
enemies.
too.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm
The
not gonna
GM
lie. I think the
GM needs
GM
to
is
go.
really killing you, bro.
No, I'm saying he needs to go. Like we need
Yeah.
one. We need a new
They already
GM
announced
who
he's
has
taking your
no
next-
enemies, who doesn't have this bad reputation. Right? I want some guy from the Rams, coaching tree
You're gonna
like
get Mike
Josh
McCarthy
Grizzard
around this.
on the Buccaneers. They lose their OC every year. Mike McCarthy, I would never want to see him coaching my team. I swear. I really don't.
We
you know,
saw odds-on favorite right now is Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, because he wants to go somewhere, but I think the Giants, I hope, will want to go a
Because the
different
Giants
direction.
want-
That would be
because the
such a
Giants wanted
it would
to
be.
develop-
How stupid would it be to fire Brian Daboll for Mike McCarthy? I mean, really.
Well, I don't think it's true because McCarthy has experience as a head coach where he's had success and he's been proven to develop quarterbacks. That's
Yeah.
why you would hire him.
he had Aaron Rodgers though, like for his
And he
prime,
had Dak.
and he's had Dak. Brian Daboll did this with Daniel Jones, and Tommy DeVito,
And now Jackson Dart and
now
Tommy
Jackson
DeVito
Dart.
and Tyrod Taylor.
With a terrible offensive line, like a team like Rodgers would honestly take control of that offense most of the time. So your job is just being the ride along when you're like calling the plays for him, or if you're the head coach. And how
That's
often did
crazy
that team
you're
come
calling
out
him
flat? There's nothing Mike McCarthy has ever done better than Brian Daboll from what I've seen in Brian Daboll's sample size to me. Besides
Being a head
win,
coach,
which is
he's
definitely
doing
not
a better role.
correlated to the most talented quarterback we've ever seen being his guy. Like, come on, like.
So we're just going to
You
invalidate
should not.
head
You
coach.
should be like
So
out on
Bill
McCarthy.
Belichick. I'm not totally out on him. I mean, we had like 3, 12, and 5 years in a row. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but the
What about
team,
the
the
whole-
team
Jason
had
Garrett?
the same
Young-
problems every year, though.
What's
Yeah,
with
that's
this whole
the
John
defense. That's
Gruden
Jerry
talk
Jones.
though?
Well, you're pointing up the tree to the GM, and I'm trying to get rid of that too. I'm just, I think we all agree on what the Giants should do is they should clean house. First of all, let's just
Oh, yeah,
establish
100%.
that. But
They already
as
announced
far as
it.
where they should go next, I'd rather have John Gruden, just because I think he's a galvanizer. At least he's gonna bring that edge that Daboll had, except even better. And maybe he's evolved his coaching ideas since he's had time off fighting in the courts. For whatever happened there.
It'll never happen.
Whatever happened there. But anyway,
You guys are going to rehire Tam Coughlin
I would love that.
or keep Mike Kafka.
I don't see us keeping Kafka. I don't really.
Danny,
know
do you
how to
remember
feel
Mike
about
Kafka?
him. I don't think anyone knows how they feel about Mike Kafka. To be
I don't
honest.
even know how I feel about Mike Kafka. I'm trying to remember what this freaking dude looked like. I know the name.
You don't
I heard
remember
it.
QB3 on the Eagles, like the early 2010s, Mike Kafka?
Oh shit!
You remember that guy?
I know that name.
Now he's gonna be leading the Giants into battle.
Yeah.
Well, we discussed the Rams and the Seahawks. We discussed the Patriots and the Chiefs, and we've
Eagles,
discussed the Eagles and Packers. And now we've discussed the firing of Brian Daboll. For me, 2 days in a row discussing Brian Daboll getting fired. This is too much trauma for me. Can we please move on and just lose out in peace? I don't want any more season-ending injuries or anything like that.
Where we get the culture
Can we move
wins.
on from Shane Bowen and maybe see if someone in-house can do something? And then Joe Shane, maybe he should put, his kid in charge for the last, month and a half of the season, because the only sample size we have of him is a 100% smash hit rate. So maybe he's the guy. And he was boasting about Jackson Dart. He was big on him. So he's that kid's onto something. He's going to do special things one day. But Joe Shane right now, I'm over it. Maybe he could do good somewhere else, but I don't see it on the Giants. But I would say
It's kind of crazy after one Hard Knock season and that whole thing happened.
oh, it was over after that.
Yeah, nobody wanted to do Hard Knocks.
It was canceled. But we're approaching
have you
an hour and a
acknowledged, though?
half.
Have you acknowledged, though, that they already announced that they're keeping the GM and he's doing the head coaching
They're
search?
just trying not to I think they just don't want to blow it up because they don't want all the chaos that comes with that. They're going to kind of do a slow bleed. Could be my delusional optimism, and I know you're going to say it is, but because that's what I want. I want that to be the case.
It's not the case, though. So in your head, you have a
no, because an owner will lie and say, like, he's our guy. I mean, like 2 weeks ago, we're like, Brian Daboll, we'll never get rid of him, you know? We believe in him.
Know.
Don't you remember 2022? What are you talking about? Are you talking crazy right now? And then here we are. So just give it a couple weeks. We'll see how the team looks without Brian Daboll, because now the microscope's on everyone else, mostly Joe Shane. The shield is gone. If people come out of games blaming Shane Bowen, I'm going to be mad, because I'm going to say, listen, the big cat is still Shane Bowen in this situation. I was going to make a meowing analogy, but I figured that probably just wasn't worth it. But anyhow, yeah, it's just, it's tumultuous times, but we got Jackson Dart, we got Cam Scadaboo, we got Malik Neighbors, we got super talented defense. I think it's an attractive spot, and we'll figure something out. I think we can do better than Mike McCarthy's like 8th or 5th stint or whatever he's on right now of figuring out if that's gonna work. I'd rather have like Clint Kubiak.
Win in this league.
Seahawks offensive coordinator. Clint Kubiak. Try to get him.
Terrible hire. That guy stinks.
That dude made Derek Carr and the Saints the highest scoring team in the league for 2 weeks, and then he's done this with the Seahawks. Anyway,
yes, horrible.
It's time for us to wrap it up and close it out. We are at an hour and a half, and I know everyone is. Let's see. Is there any questions in the chat before we go?
There's one thing. I have something.
We got 2 watching right now. What's up, guys?
One of the things we didn't do was talk about the Bears at all, and they're 6-3.
Yeah, dude, I don't.
Oh yeah, my
team.
team.
I know they're 6-3 though. They're like
they almost lost to the Giants. I mean,
they won.
I know, but it's not a great accomplishment. The Broncos did the same thing. The Cowboys did the same thing. The Saints did the same thing. And no matter who the Giants play, they're going to lose either by going up 2 scores and then losing, or they're just going to lose the old-fashioned way.
What do you prefer?
Honestly, it's actually funny because I said going into the season, if we could just lose in more exciting ways, like if that win percentage chart could go a lot more up and down instead of just, I'd be a lot more excited. And I won't lie, I guess I am. You know, I guess I'm more excited to watch each week just to see the train wreck, how it's all going to go wrong. And you watched me do it week 2 versus Dallas when you saw it on my energy that I was like, oh, you think we're in winning position right now? Like, what do you think this is? Yeah. Like the Kansas City Chiefs or even just an average football team? No, this is the Giants. We get 64-yard field goals kicked on us for game winners, like nobody else, and we allow 50-yard completions with 13 seconds left. So that's who we are, and yeah, I think I'm going to close it out on that. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the Top 10 Tuesdays. These are my favorite videos and streams I do every single week. Thank you to those of you, the 2 of you watching right now. Much love to you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see us more often, and maybe hit that notification bell so you'll know when we're live and when a video goes up right afterwards. Subscribe to, is it now Dat One Dude or
it's now Dat One Dude?
Dat One Dude. I will update that in my description. And then we got Joey, who doesn't have a channel yet, and I will constantly harass to maybe make one, and we'll see about that one day. But he is the Cowboys representative, as I've mentioned, and I love having him on whenever we can. And I love when the 3 of us are here. So everyone like and subscribe for the trio, making it back onto the stream. So that's going to be all for this one, guys. It was a crazy 10 weeks of football so far. Get ready for it to get even crazier and for these lists to look silly in a couple weeks. All right. That's all I got. Dan, you want to close it out?
Guys, thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing out, guys. Listen, football's getting crazy. Nobody knows what the fuck's going to happen. But, hey, we here for it. Just make sure you check out with all 3 of us. We're trying to find the 4th. Commanders fans, pop up, pop out, come in the comments, whatever the case is. We're still looking for somebody. But at the end of the day, I'm going to catch you on the next one.
Peace.